shout out to some people with principles.
Hey, Benjamin, good morning. Did you gain your religion?
I am gaining my religion. I love it. Good to see you, Dr. James. How are you? I hope you're doing well as well.
Yeah, sir.
Steve, I put a link in the back channel. I love the mods. I think the mods are all.
I have the best mod squad in the history of Clubhouse, bar none.
They are very highly talented. If I was throwing a party and I went to the grocery store to get helium for the party, and the store was just out of helium, I would come to the mod squad for backup. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're always there for you when you need.
Damn right.
Hot air.
That's because I'm always there for them.
Exactly. So I wanted to point out that accidentally and without evidence, you were right this year. And it's okay to be right accidentally. It's not the best. But here's an article. I put it in the chat. It's from NIH.gov. And it's a study, and it shows that, in fact, SNAP participants, when compared, and get this, people who are eligible for SNAP, but who are not taking it. The people who are taking SNAP are 2.6 times as likely to be obese. Now, this is not a fraud crisis. This is not a laziness crisis. This is not an unfairness crisis. If my good fellows who have spoken compassionately on this actually gave a damn for the lives of these people, they would be concerned about the health crisis, which is SNAP. SNAP is causing people to become incapacitated.
Correlation does not equal causation. Where's your link? Let us all be able to check your data. Blah, blah, you know.
I love Dr. James. See, Dr. James is the one person here who will hold my feet right properly to the
Well, he's getting better in his timing, but please continue, Benjamin.
And that is worth the price of admission. The link, of course, Dr. James is already in the chat.
Yeah, you said you posted it. Yeah.
Prophylactic, at least 7 minutes ago. If you just go up 7 minutes, I think you'll find it there. It's the NIH.gov link.
Thank you, Benjamin.
You know it's good because it's right, proper, scientific, peer-reviewed scientific publication, and who could ever doubt peer-reviewed scientific publication? Now, it turns out, there is a crisis of sitting on the couch eating potato chips, or to say it another way, there is a crisis that SNAP causes people to become obese. That is completely, entirely, and categorically inappropriate. Government should shut down the SNAP program overnight, given that it has that propensity to cause people to become
Well, I
obese.
completely disagree with that, as I alluded to earlier, but I'll say it more specifically now. I have no problem whatsoever with welfare and food stamps. In fact, I endorse welfare and food stamps for those that are down on their luck, but not on a permanent basis. When you qualify for welfare and food stamps, you should also be required to either A, look for a job, or if your job market is closed down, get into a retraining and or volunteer and or educational program while you are on your welfare and food stamps, and so you can retrain yourself to re-enter the job market. And by the way, Cora earlier mentioned an average of 7 months. I'm completely willing to extend that to a year, if not a year and a half, maybe even 2 years, depending on your specific circumstance. I would cap it at 2 years, but go ahead, Benjamin.
Yeah,
Actually,
just to
Steve,
wrap
I
this.
had a comment.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to back this up, but I wonder if the obesity related to SNAP is because the cheapest foods are high fructose corn syrup, heavily processed, monocarbohydrate, and if you want to try to have an organic,
I'm sure that's a
you're only gonna
contributing
get enough-
factor, yes.
And it's only
Yes.
$300 a month,
Healthier.
by the way. I mean, what can you buy with $300?
And as a recipient of SNAP in certain times of our lives, I mean, if we wanted to get fresh produce and, healthier foods, it was 2 days worth of food versus a week and a half with the, again, highly processed,
Yep.
fructose corn syrup, all that kind of stuff.
Definitely a
So,
contributing factor, no question about it.
well, that's what I'll land with that.
Valid comment, Violet, absolutely valid.
reclaim my-
Benjamin, go ahead. Yeah, I know, you get
So-
2.5 minutes to reclaim
I'll
your
just
time.
start over with the 5 minutes.
Steve, when he's done, I just have a quick fact check, but I want to wait for Benjamin to run out of his.
And by the way, we have not forgotten about Monsef and Dr. Mitch, maybe in a reverse order, I don't know, but I want to get them in before the top of the hour break, but that's fine.
I'll
I
be
love
very
the fact
quick.
that Dr.
I'll be
James,
very.
Dr. James is the only one who got that aside. There's another aspect to this. In addition to this being horrendously poor for people's health, and I appreciate Violet's concern about corn syrup subsidies, which I do think are corrosive and a violent attack on America's health. This study would suggest the opposite. I mean, these people were ostensibly had more money to spend on food than people who were equally eligible, but not on the program. So they certainly could have spent that extra money on better food, but they made poor choices, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to move beyond just the sheer obesity. There is
Well, you got 60 seconds to talk about whatever you want, go ahead.
there is a feeling of worth and dignity that comes from contributing to society in a way that allows society to support your lifestyle. And people who are not able to do that or don't have the opportunities to do that or not encouraged to do that or required in some cases, as Cora quite rightly mentioned, people who on welfare who work often are punished for doing so. That's a very, very negative feedback cycle. So people should be encouraged to do something worthwhile so that they feel worthwhile. And that hasn't been discussed by any of your experts. Who,
Well, I discussed it.
definitely,
I briefly discussed
definitely holding up the show with their hot air, if nothing else. Okay, so
Well, tell you what, Benjamin, why don't we stop there? Why don't you take a
well,
couple of
because
notes?
I was interrupted
We'll
several times,
come.
so
I
just 60
Benjamin,
seconds. Just 60 seconds.
Okay, go
Because I was
ahead.
interrupted. I want to reclaim my time.
Go ahead.
60 seconds. So, a new rule. You might not be that thing that you say you are if you can't define it. So if you are something, you have to be able to define that thing. Want to be paying attention to the people in your life who claim to be something and they don't even know the definition of it. And I'll give you an example. This is Alan, good friend of the show. Is a scientist, or claims to be. But every time I've asked him to define science, I have been disappointed because it seems like we can't find that beautiful, bright blue line that differentiates science from other enterprises. So if you think you're a thing like an atheist that you can't define what it means to be an atheist, then you might not be an atheist. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. Fortunately, I can define atheism. That means I don't believe in God. Thank you very much. And before we go to Dr. Mitch and Monsef, Dr. James.
Dr. James wants to fact check.
Okay, Dr. James, 30 seconds. Alfonso, 30 seconds. Then I want to give a fresh 5 to Dr. Mitch and Monsef. Go ahead.
It's gonna take me about a minute, but here we go, okay? Just bear with me. So basically, this study that you're quoting, it's a Los Angeles snapshot. You're citing people use Snap. were more likely to be obese, but the study itself cautions that it can't tell whether SNAP caused that difference, so correlation does not equal causation. New research suggests when the timer uses quasi-experiments finds the picture is far more mixed. In several subgroups, SNAP or larger benefits lower obesity risk. The weight gap appears to stem less from the program itself and more from the cost and availability of healthy foods, the once-a-month benefit cycle, and the chronic stress of poverty. Randomized pilots show that when SNAP dollars are nudged towards fruits and vegetables or away from sugar-sweet beverages, diet quality improves without sacrificing food security. In short, the evidence argues for modernizing SNAP nutritional standards and benefit timing, not for cutting or stigmatizing the program. So if you give payments out twice a month rather than once a month, then you can help put a little bit of the dent in that binge eating cycle where you have a bunch of food at the beginning of the month and then you run out slowly. You have to start making ends meet, stretching your dollars. There's a bunch of high quality studies I could cite that came after the one that Benjamin cited, which I won't because I won't have time. And finally, what we have here is essentially diet quality, not calories, is the actionable issue. SNAP dollars are often spent on calorie-dense, nutrient-poor items. Incentives and modest restrictions consistently improve purchasing patterns. Monthly sum. Okay, so basically right now we have testing in New England, Indiana, in several states. In 2025.
You want to go over that in a fresh five in hour number 2?
I'm just noting it. I'm not going to get into it.
I really want to get Dr. Mitch and Monsef in hour number 1. I really do.
I'm on my last breath here. So basically, you've got a bunch of states targeting the food environment rather than blaming recipients, and essentially looking at that is the thing that has been most beneficial. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Alfonso, 30 seconds.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
And or a fresh five in hour number 2.
No. Time limits are amazing because they help me focus. Just 2 quick comments. One is, you perhaps can't get a monolithic definition of science. There's a wide range of different ways of looking at it. I would consider everything to a degree of science. So, some things are more precise, some things are gathering data, and they're softer and harder sciences, so that on the definition of science, you can't find, depending on who you ask, straight answers sometimes. But we do have the scientific method and all that. I'll leave it there. Thanks for my 30 seconds.
Absolutely. Thank you. Dr. Mitch, thank you very much for being patient. Welcome to the show. You have a fresh vibe. What would you like to talk about?
Thanks, Steve. Great conversation. I think a lot of times we're missing the forest for the trees, right? I don't think America's a poor nation. I don't think we should be replacing poor people's benefits with a missile shield. I think it's really kind of cruel. When it comes to healthcare, the problem has always been cost. It's a tremendous legal system. We've been talking about tort reform for years. The 2 things I was most excited about when RFK came in was having some kind of a transparent fee schedule for the payment of procedures and also to remove the liability shield for pharmaceutical companies. Those 2 things really excited me because they have the ability to help actual people. I live in California, and the problem with having a work requirement.
I'm sorry, pardon me, really quickly, that liability shield was only for COVID, I think, or am I mistaken?
Well, it's not only for COVID. It's
Okay,
for.
I was mistaken. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, it's for any medicine that has emergency use authorization, and all vaccines. So anytime you say a medicine is a vaccine, what happens is you and I end up paying if someone's injured instead of the pharmaceutical company. And so I was pretty excited about that. It hasn't happened. A lot of things that kind of Trump campaigned on hasn't happened. I mean, we have all these rare earth minerals, we've got tremendous resources, and the American people are not getting any kind of a dividend. We're paying the government to function when the government, is it going to matter to the national debt if somebody works 20 hours a week? Is that going to have any type of an impact? No, it's just not. The spending's out of control. like you said, the interest rate, you know, the amount of national debt we have is kind of insane. And it needs to be restructured more like a business. You know, I mean, the government makes money, and we have tremendous resources here. And I don't think we should be punishing the most vulnerable people at a time right now in history where they're struggling the most. In California, if you have a minimum wage job, you get kicked off benefits. You exceed the threshold for any type of benefits just by having literally a minimum wage job. So people are not encouraged to work. There's a lot of things that can be done, but I think the big picture is to do things that help reduce the cost of government. I'm with Rand Paul on this, and his father, Ron Paul. I'm kind of, you know, I think it's more or less out of control, the amount of spending and money printing, and a lot of it's going to the wrong place. And I don't think cutting people's basic benefits is the way to get, you know, is the way to reduce government. It's kind of.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your contributions. Please stick around, and if you want a fresh five in hour number 2, we'll put you in the queue. Okay, let's see. Before Cogito and El Normo, you guys will be first up in hour number 2. Let's say hello to Monsef. Monsef, pleasure to have you on the stage. By the way, before you talk about whatever you want, how much of my intro did you hear? Some of it, all of it, none of it?
I did most of it.
Fantastic. Please, thank you for being on the show. Always a pleasure. Go for it.
Yeah, you too, Steve. 2 things, and I'm going to be done before the 11 o'clock hour in my time.
Okay.
So, 2 things. When we talk about cutting fraud and all that, I don't know why the focus is on the single user that's getting, $300 a month in food stamps, and maybe $1,000, $1,500 in Medicaid. While, whatever government program they allows them to get, cheap healthcare, whatever. While the biggest abusers are corporate medical companies that abuse the system. I encourage everyone to go up and look up the history of the governor from Florida, Rick Scott. He was the CEO of a hospital here, and then it became a huge health organization. It got fined $1.7 billion. It was found that it, in all 14 counts of, fraud cases, it was found liable, and it ranged from.
I'm assuming that was Medicare and not Medicaid, or am I mistaken?
It was all.
It was all Medicare. Thank you. Please continue.
No, all. It was Medicare abuse, Medicaid,
okay.
A lot of other medical. So that doesn't even compare to. I mean, you're going to need millions and millions of people abusing the government for $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month. Just like Cora said, that's not really something they're going to get for the rest of their lives, and that's what the focus on. I haven't heard any promises that we're going to cut down on abuse and fraud from all these big companies that are defrauding the system. This is where the money is going out the most. Number 2, I did put a picture in my PTR, and I sent you 2 graphs, Uncle Steve, in your back channel that shows this, the impact of this big, beautiful bill. The top line is the revenues. It's the tax cuts are expected to cost us, the tax cuts to the rich, the 2017 tax cuts are going to be expanded now, close to $5 trillion. And this is tax cuts to not the middle class, not the struggling masses. It's tax cuts to people that don't need tax cuts. Basically, when you have an equation like that, you would hope that the programs that you say that you're going to eliminate to fund these tax cuts are going to be at least the same that that you need something to pay for all those tax cuts. No, when you look at the freaking graph, even when you add the savings that you get from cutting all the Medicaid and all that, it's a fraction of that $5 trillion. So the focus on, cutting, government programs to people that need it the most doesn't even come close to the amount of money that we're giving away to people that don't need it, and there's no one talking about that. So I'm getting close to the top of the hour. That's all I have, Uncle Steve. Just 2 points I wanted to highlight. And Rick Scott, by the way, as instead of going to jail, he was elected senator after paying $1.7 billion. So, that's what's going to make a difference in the, in the budget, not the going after people that need, money to take care of their sick child. We're going to cut off that lifeline to them. Thanks.
Absolutely, thank you. All good points. Next in the queue would be El Normo and Cogito, but we've got the top of the hour break, so coming out, El Normo will be first, Cogito will be second. 1 hour in the tank and 2 hours left. Thank you all very much for joining another edition of Ask Uncle Steve with the Mod Squad. I've assembled the best Mod Squad in the history of Clubhouse. They have a variety of fields of expertise as well as knowledge. This is the way the show works. If you've been here, if you're here for the very first time, unlike other Clubhouse rooms, we put a premium on the new speakers. We want to hear the new speakers. But if you are an experienced speaker or a new speaker, come on up, get a fresh five. You can go on a narrative. You can say, Uncle Steve or Steve, just go on mute. I want to speak for 5 minutes. No problem. Just don't say something completely idiotic or stupid. In other words, have a take and don't suck. On the other hand, if you want to engage with me or my Mod Squad, just say you want to talk to me or you want to talk to any member of the Mod Squad. They are more than willing to engage with you. Don't go back, don't go away, and we'll be right back with hour number 2.
Principle as something that's significant for them, like this is a value that I hold, right? And so then when you ask them, well, where do you get that from? They'll say, well, I read that in this sociological treatise or whatever, or they read this in this, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance or whatever, not knowing that that person potentially got it from a person who got it from a person who got it from the Bible. Do you see what I'm saying? So we don't always know. We don't always know the origin of these ideas. So I'm not saying that there's like a school of people that are out there, consciously promoting social Darwinism. I'm just saying that understanding social Darwinism helps me to organize what I see happening. This whole idea of, the competition of the free market, right? The best is gonna win out. It's that kind of idea, I guess. So no, I'm not saying that this is like a sect or something that's operating in the world. I think since the industrial age and the robber baron era, this has been a social, sort of conscious for some people, unconscious for others, a social ideology that has functioned for us. And a lot of these people do believe in God. They're creationists, and they, I can go off on a whole thing. They believe in the concept of the Calvinist elect, that there are certain people who have been endowed with the right, to govern, lead, be in power over other people. I mean, that's what is it? That's part of why in the Declaration of Independence it says all humans have been endowed by their creator. To contravene that idea that there are only certain people who God has given the providence, like, to rule over other people and stuff. Like, it's connected to religion as well. It's one of the really interesting intersections between the religion and science. But I won't go off on a whole thing on that. But hopefully that basically answers the question.
That was good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Happy Saturday, everyone. Please continue the conversation.
Well,
Jasmine.
if I can ask Dr. AG, but isn't part of the Heritage Project like their ancestral right is due to the fact of not just their skin color but their financial gain? It's directly like to their pocketbook. So they believe that I believe I read that somewhere that the Heritage Project, you know, the creators of Project 2025, which is leading this country by leaps and goddamn bounds, their ancestral right is because of the fact that they are so rich. To go back to the old moniker of how can you get this from?
Wow.
Well, I don't know if I'm understanding what you're asking me, so I'm gonna restate it the way I think you're asking, what I think you're asking, and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. So, the people in the Heritage Foundation, like the people in the family, that group, the family, they believe that they actually say in their conversations that they have been chosen like by God as leaders